Hey guys, it's Simon.
It's me, Bricolage.
Today we're celebrating a very special moment as we're interviewing one of the designers that will be presenting at Fashion Art Toronto.
You might know him from season 1 of Project Runway Canada. This Toronto-based fashion designer blends rich cultural heritage and formal training from Australia and the Fashion Institute of Technology in New York.
Without further ado, please welcome the mind behind SIYAWAREVA. It's Foster.
Yeah.
Hi, Foster.
Hi guys, thank you so much for having me. This is awesome.
How are you doing?
I'm good actually. Yeah, after Project Runway, everything is sort of like calming down a little bit, which is great.
Okay, well, let's get into it. So I think before anything, I want to make sure that I'm pronouncing your brand correctly. Is it SIYAWAREVA?
Almost SIYAWAREVA.
Whatever.
Yes, the R's gotta roll.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So it is quite a challenge to really go with the name itself. But yeah, I love it. It's catchy, it's unique, and it is the family name.
It is my last name exactly, which was a hard decision I had to make because I wasn't so sure how other cultures would connect with the name. But looking at other brands and how they took their own names and stuck by it, even though it was hard, I was like, okay, I can do the same. So if we can all say Yves Saint Laurent, we can say SIYAWAREVA.
Exactly. Is there any special meaning behind SIYAWAREVA?
Yeah, good question. The name SIYAWAREVA actually means to leave the message. So Sia is to say leave. So like you can say Sia water or Sia keys, so, and then whatever is to after speaking. So it's a specific message saying leave after you've said the thing you wanted to say.
Oh, so it's come into the room and leave dramatically.
Exactly. Yeah, you got it. Clock it.
That is an actual statement of itself. I will remember that forever. Oh my gosh.
And knowing your design, I think it just blends perfectly with your aesthetics. Is this some sort of message that you want to, I guess, give to the world?
I think with any artistic endeavor, you definitely want to make an impression. And I do want the world to be more united and more peaceful. And I know that sounds so cheesy and so corny, but honestly, I feel that we are more connected than we actually know. And I know that because I've had the opportunity to live in different countries. I mean, I've lived in Australia, I've lived in Dubai, I've lived in Africa, I've lived in America, I've traveled to other countries. And humanity has the same desires. Humanity has the same dreams and ambitions. Everybody across the world has a family. They want to do the best they can for their family. So we are actually more similar than we want to acknowledge.
That's fine.
That's beautiful. So what kind of women wear SIYAWAREVA?
The kind of woman that wears SIYAWAREVA is definitely the formidable woman. A woman who is assertive, is sure of herself, and has already proven herself in so many areas of her life. She doesn't need to prove herself with a skimpy dress or poor taste, but rather she wants to express her presence with her clothing. So she wants to show that she is here and she acknowledges the moment without trying to take over. And so what that means is that the style may not necessarily be super conceptual or outlandish, but it does feel intentional. It does feel intentional.
So we've explored SIYAWAREVA as far as the brand would come from. But as you made your way into Project Runway, we were seeing Foster in that making. So let's explore that. Let's explore before you made it to Project Runway and really introduce yourself as who is Foster.
Oh, wow. I love that. Because on the show, it's just one aspect. You just get to see the person behind the camera, or in front of the camera, rather, not behind the camera, in front of the camera. And there is so much of the story that is missing and that is not told when the camera's on you. And also that is really left up to the editors and the producers of the show. So before the show, I just had a dream. I just love to create clothes. I just love to the idea of helping people find their finer side, right? And I didn't really think of going on to Project Runway for the fame or anything else. I thought the publicity would be great for my brand so I can reach more people. And I had been in Canada at that time. I think it had been about 6-7 years. And I just wanted more. I wanted to do more. I wanted to reach more. And I felt I had invested enough in my skills to have value enough to give to Canada. And so the platform on Project Runway is definitely incredible. Definitely one of the best platforms I could have ever been on. It gave me a lot of light and a lot of publicity. But that was just part of a story. And the story is still being written.
Yeah, and let's explore the story of like the creation of how you really got into the world of fashion. We know that you went to school for it. You explored the practices of what textiles and fabrics are all about. But like, did the brand when you created this brand, what was the tipping point that found you in the place of like, yeah, I'm gonna explore fashion? Like, was there somebody that told you that this should be for you? Is this your calling?
You know, when every fashion student goes into fashion school and they get in there with these amazing ideas. And the fashion school's job is to nurture your potential. And so they feed you this idea that you are the next best thing in fashion. And, you know, we're young at the time. We buy the idea. We go into it and we're like, oh my God, I'm the next McQueen, you know? And then you go into it, but it's true. You are the next best thing. It is true. But the journey to get there is a totally different thing. There's so many highs. The highs are high. The competition is fierce. And so when I was in fashion school, I think that contributed a lot to my decision to starting a brand, because my lecturers made me believe that my ideas were good. They made me believe that I had something of value to give to people. And that was also in addition to my own self-belief that I could actually offer the world something that was beautiful. And of course, my mom is like, oh my God, you're great, sweetie.
Your mom is your primary cheerleader.
Yeah, exactly. So she definitely played a role. I mean, and all my siblings, my family is incredible. They've all been very supportive. And I think it was just, you know, a combination of different, you know, positives that led me down this path.
That's amazing.
I kind of want to trace it back a little bit even more. Who are you like as a kid? Like, when did you show that first spark of your interest in fashion?
Oh, yeah. As a kid, I was very much introverted. I think there are a lot of things that happen to children, you know, and I think clothes just became a form of expression. And I think I just like the idea of beauty, creating beautiful things, seeing how people dress themselves and they make an impact, you know. I mean, each of us know one girl or one guy. You don't know their name, but you know what they look like. And they make such an impression every time you see them.
Yes.
It's like a girl sitting on the train just reading her book, minding her business, but damn, girl.
Yeah, she looks good.
You know, she looks good.
She's wearing those clothes.
You know, exactly.
Yeah.
Or it's a guy is just having his coffee and you're like, oh, well, okay. You know what I mean? So those kind of things, that the appreciation of beauty. So as a kid, I think I recognized that. I recognized it in women around me. I recognized it in my mother. I recognized it in my sisters. I recognized it in my English teacher. She was like this white Zimbabwean lady, had curly red hair. But you can imagine, this is Africa. It's warmer than Canada. But she came in heels. She wore this fitted pencil, sort of like safari dress kind of thing. And she had her nails, they were burgundy. They were not super long, but they were done so well. Mrs. Reynolds, I'll never forget her. I think
Shout out to
she's in
Miss
Zambia.
Reynolds.
Yeah.
She's probably watching.
Mrs. Reynolds is in Zambia right now, I think. But she, like, those kind of women, you know, just seeing how they carry themselves and they influence our lives in such a positive way without even saying anything.
Yeah,
That's
I think
a superpower.
that's so beautiful, and it reminds me of the story you told about the name of the brand. It's like coming in and leaving the room with a message. I feel like those women kind of left those impression in you and like probably planted a seed for the appreciation of beauty and fashion. And you're here today as a fashion designer.
Exactly.
I remember the time that, I mean, when Amy and I first met you at the Toronto Designer Market, the first thing that we really took on was you obviously presented some designs from the show, but there were some designs that weren't presented in the show, and they're right at those mannequins.
Yeah.
And as you were talking about this idea of like the persona of the woman that is going to be wearing the clothes, who are representing this refinement of confidence in clothing, it immediately struck me as soon as I saw those clothes, and it really was super empowering. Like I find myself looking at clothes all the time and I'm saying like, I wonder who that's for. And you started talking about this moment. I was like, okay, now it makes total sense.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I do try to cater to. I think it's sometimes neglected, that aspect of fashion. I think everyone loves the theater of fashion, and I love it too. I enjoy it so much. But in the real world, there are women who just enjoy looking beautiful, but without being too overpowering.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's just I think I found a place in fashion, and the people in that place also found me. And so it's a unity.
Yeah, I think like we've spoken before, and I really resonated with what you said about the beauty and the provocativeness in like covering up and restraint. Like there's an element of sensuality in that type of beauty, which is pretty different from the sexiness that we see in mainstream media, where it's all about exposing, like showing skin. I find your definition of like sexiness also very appealing.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, thank you. Yeah, because at times I find myself challenged to compromise because I also want to make an impression.
Right.
Jeannie Becker said it one time. I didn't like it when she said it, but it's true. She said, Foster likes to please. And I do want to make people happy. And if someone comes to me and says, can you make me something sexy, and whatever sexy means to them, I might just do it. But me, authentically, I'm a little bit more restrained in my approach because I feel like I want to be able to leave something to be discovered.
Right.
It's nice to have something to discover in a person. It can be in different aspects, but we're talking about fashion, but in fashion as well, it's nice to discover something about a person.
Yeah, I think there's a fine line of creating fabrics that give you a sense of sexiness, but also mystery at the same time. I think the flirtation of garments, especially when it goes into someone's body, immediately creates and gravitates to something more. I want to like explore the journey of like your choices of garments as a designer. Like, where do you usually look at those inspirations? Like, do you find it in spaces that is mostly, on your own mind, or is there somebody that is kind of giving you inspiration? Is a specific person in mind, if anything?
Well, the brand itself is not really coming in with new silhouettes. We are really riding on classic silhouettes. So what does that mean? Are we not creating anything new? Honestly, there's nothing new under the sun. It's just approaching every silhouette in a different way. And a lot of times, the things that we think are super new, it's not really new. It's just that it's been revived and that reviving or that revival is usually after a certain period of time. Right. So, for example, with Schiaparelli right now, everybody loves Schiaparelli. But there was a time if Schiaparelli continues, there was a time where just like, it's just Schiaparelli. But because there was an element of time and the heart distance makes the heart grow fonder, people missed it and then came back and was like, oh my God, this is amazing. So my perspective is that the classic silhouettes, refining them, making them current, making them relevant to today, and but also tapping into other fabrics, because in design, there's only so much time you have to explore a design idea. And sometimes you have to abandon or stop at a certain point because there's the constraint of time or resources. So that means I can also pick up from where that designer left off and continue, or where that idea stopped and then continue and build on that. And so apart from just playing on the classic silhouettes, I do then go into finding different fabrics. Like, how does it look in a shantung, or how does it look in a silk, or how does it look in leather? All those kind of things. And when you see it in a different fabric, there's a new excitement because it's like, I never thought of it that way. So it's telling the same story, but in a different way. It's just like the Cinderella story. We've heard it like a million times, but there's a way Morgan Freeman would tell it. And then you're like, oh, okay, Cinderella.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's just retelling the story, but in a different way. And in a way that certain people understand.
Right.
And that's your target market.
That kind of reminds me of your point about the type of women you want to dress in SIYAWAREVA. Like, it's women who are working women, modern women who have established their career or passion projects. So you're redesigning these classic silhouettes that fit into these modern lifestyles. These women need to commute to work, they need to sit in an office, they need to go to conferences. So how do they present these very lavish gowns in those scenarios? And I think that's what your brand presents as new.
Absolutely. And also the biggest challenge is on the runway, there's a desire to be entertained. And that's why we love fashion, is that entertaining aspect of the brand. But then the flip side, the business side, these women also want things that can translate into their lives. So like with this new collection, I'm trying to find a balance where the clothes can translate to more than one aspect of their lives and fit into their life a little bit more. And the great thing about having the experience of tailoring and designing for women in real life, and not just a celebrity or a singer, is that they actually have real problems in terms of like their wardrobe that they need to be fixed. It's not a problem for a stage. It's a problem for, I need this problem to be fixed forever, right? Because I'm going to be wearing these clothes repeatedly, so I need this problem fixed forever. For example, I was going to a summit, they had a Google Business Summit, and then I had the opportunity to have this lady in the Uber with me. And I was just talking about my brand. I was exhausted. I didn't think much of it. And she's like, yeah, I love shopping online, but the problem is I just can't feel the fabric whenever I'm online. To me, after everything that she had said, she was my target market. And when she said that, I was like, I can come up with a solution for something like that. I'm not going to share it here, but I can. Those are real problems. Like, she wants to feel the fabric before she buys it. So you, as a designer and as a business owner, you have to come up with a solution, right? So these are the kind of little problems that are ignored. But as a designer, your job is there to simplify people's lives.
Yes. I think making it accessible is super
and make
important.
it accessible, exactly.
Yeah. Now, I mean, you've already kind of put the meat and bones in there. So we're kind
Yeah.
of
Diving in.
I want to get into the main point of why we're having this conversation today, is to really dive deep in your collection, what's being presented into the runway. So we know for sure that this entire collection is already encompassing all the things that you've already mentioned on this chat. But I want to understand what would be the emotions that you're probably gonna like give to someone that's going to be watching the collection on the runway.
I love that question. You know, the collection itself is really just an expression of the brand first. This would be the second collection I'll be showing with Fat, but I felt the need to really solidify the identity of the brand once more. The first time, I don't feel I had enough attention, But I feel this time, this is an opportunity to really say, this is who I am and this is who the brand is. The collection itself, the title is Mon Abri Secret, which means my secret place. I think the context of the translation is more my secret refuge, my secret hideout, somewhere we feel safe. And clothes do that. They make you feel safe. There's also an aspect of something supernatural, in the way that the fabrics will be lighter, a little bit more translucent in a nice, tasteful way. And there's just something about this girl that is deeply beautiful, deeply well thought out, deeply intentional, and deeply attractive without compromise. And I want the Canadian audience to see that. And I also want to induce a desire for it.
Right.
Even though it may feel a little bit more simpler for some people's taste. But I believe that there's an opportunity to induce a desire for it. And that's my job as a designer, to induce a desire for what I create. So, yeah.
I am more curious to know, this is probably for the ones who are already going to see this, will there be parts of the inspiration coming from your participation at Project Runway?
Good question. Yes. The answer is yes. Because I am building a brand. Mm-hmm. It's building. So I am adding value to what I've learned, adjusting, pivoting. One of the greatest things one of the greater opportunities I had was to design something and have people on social media comment and say, oh, I love this about this. That gives you some direction.
Right.
That gives you some direction. And there are some pieces that I did notice did make an impact. And so I am exploring those design ideas and seeing how I can reintroduce them into the modern woman. Nice. And see how I can make that a part of their wardrobe. Because the show was a show. Mm-hmm. Project Runway is a TV show. But there's also fashion in the show. And so I'm not going to miss the opportunity to give more fashion.
That's fair. I think there's a lot to say about, the ability to get public opinions on certain things and how it's being positioned, right? When does the line kind of get you to the point of like, yeah, feedback is okay, but not required? Like, there's ever a time where you feel like it crosses the line, or it's just not necessary in your point of view as a brand?
With fashion specifically, there's a lot of opinions because everybody wears clothes. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Everybody wears clothes, and so everybody feels like, oh, why would she wear that?
Right.
But not everybody understands it, right? And for me, the biggest challenge I had personally was that I always questioned myself. My self-esteem was really low, and my confidence was really low. And going on Project Runway was really me pushing myself because I knew I was going to be judged. And I knew there was the possibility of being like, them not liking my work. But praise be to God, when the other designers gave me so much confidence in what I do, because they looked at my designs and they're like, oh my God, you're so good. And when I made it to the top 4 and I'm next to the designers I thought were incredible, I was like, oh, I'm the shit.
Yeah.
I'm the shit. So I didn't need more validation. That was enough for me to know that I am on track, to know that there is something here. So I think in fashion, you have to know yourself. The opinions will always be there. Where do I draw the line? I think I draw the line on my own principles and my own beliefs.
Right.
I connect with people not based on their race, gender, but on what they believe. When we believe in the same things, I think we can build something. If we believe that, if we believe and agree that Tim Hortons is better than Starbucks, we can be friends. Don't argue with me.
I didn't say anything, and I'm just like.
But that was just a side note. But there are those things. There are things that unite us. You'd like, be kind. Okay, we can all agree on that. we can come together on that despite our different appearances.
I think you raised such a good point about the importance of finding your own tribe and your own community in fashion. Because being an artist can be lonely. It's a battle that you have to fight yourself. But the fact that you found so many contemporaries on the show and alongside you that kind of agreed in your vision or like celebrated your vision, I think it's so beautiful. Are there any like best friends or contemporaries in Toronto fashion that you can share?
Oh, wow. In Toronto, well, let me think. Well, definitely, if we're talking Canadians, people who I love and admire, there's nobody greater than Celine Dion. And I have a bone to pick with Canada because I think Celine Dion is under-celebrated, if that's a word. I think there should be a statue of Celine Dion. I think Celine Dion's face should be on the dollar bills.
That's true.
She should be
A
on the
street
coin.
name.
A street name for
Yeah.
Celine Dion. Because let me tell you why I say that. I'll justify my explanation. Is because just imagine I am in Zimbabwe. It's at the bottom of Africa. I'm in a remote village in Zimbabwe, in Africa. And I'm in a bar, and on the radio, guess who's playing? Celine Dion. So she was able to reach me with her music, and we loved her music. People would dance to it. On Valentine's Day, it was the go-to like music. Like Celine Dion was the business or is the business, right? So I feel like, and she's on the same level, in my opinion, everyone else can argue with me. She's on the same level with like Whitney and Adele, like her range, her heritage and history in music. You know, so I feel like Canada needs to do more. So I really love Celine Dion. Yeah. I mean, like I'm just sold on Celine Dion. So for sure her.
And not to mention also a fashionista.
Exactly, right? And she understands her body and she does take risks as well, which is fun. But like she's definitely an incredible fashion person.
That's amazing. Would you ever see yourself dressing her with your clothes?
Oh, 100%. Oh, Celine Dion. Oh, call me.
Is there a dress in your archive right now that you think will fit Celine's vibe?
Actually, I do. I made a custom dress for my good friend Hilary LeBlanc.
Oh,
And
we
it
love
was,
her.
I'm sure you guys saw it at the Toronto Designers Market. I was like, oh yeah, this might be, if I made a few tweaks and adjustments, I think that's like a stage Celine Dion.
That's fair.
Yeah, like when she did her, it wasn't Rolling in the Deep. There's this song, there's a song, it's an upbeat song that she does. And she wears a short dress and she's dancing around. And I think that would be a Celine Dion dress.
That's lovely.
Yeah.
So other than Celine Dion, is there any other celebrities in this whole wide world you would like to dress?
Yes, when it comes to a woman, definitely Kate Blanchett. I think her style is so perfect. Like the way she articulates her perspective in her design choices is very, very good. She understands her body. She understands that the clothes that she's wearing are not just for that moment, they are forever. And which is what I try to like embody in my brand, clothes that last. And I love that she also like repeats, we know this, she repeats her outfits. And even though it's repeated and it's an outfit from 2020 or 2019, she wears it today and it still feels relevant and current.
Right.
That is style. That is style, and you cannot buy that. And that's what I love about her. And I would definitely love to dress her. Like she's everything.
I can honestly imagine like seeing her wearing your clothes, especially the ones you actually presented on the show as well. Like, and I wanna stress into the idea of like somebody wearing clothes more than once is not a crime. Like it literally should not be an issue. I think there's better ways to find sustainability when it comes to buying expensive clothes, and one of them is literally
Absolutely.
wearing them all the time. Yeah.
No, I agree with that. And I personally believe that sustainability can be approached in many different ways. My clients may not necessarily want to wear a recycled piece of clothing. They might do vintage just because they really love a certain piece. But they also respect having clothes that last. clothes that last in the wardrobe.
Right.
And that is also sustainability.
Right.
Because you're not constantly going to the fast food or fast fashion, brand to buy the newest thing, but you are building a wardrobe, and that wardrobe is for a lifetime.
I mean, imagine it's just a generation of Kate Blanchetts, of another Kate Blanchett to be wearing it again. What I'm trying to get around this is basically clothes that need to be worn in a way that essentially is being worn by a generation of families, of every single daughters and mothers that's going to be taking it away. I literally had, my young brother had this one polo shirt that he has worn all his life as a child. And now my nephew is wearing it. And I just was so surprised. Mm-hmm. And now it's just this generation of clothing that we don't get to see so often. And I can actually see that with when you say that clothes need to be a certain quality that could be worn out for years so that every single person gets to wear it in their generation is already a feat of its own. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I feel like your clothes are always very timeless design. So that means they will not go out of fashion the next season or the next year. So in that way, Kate Blanchett, for example, can wear it award season after award season, film festival after film festival. So something that she can recycle.
Absolutely. And I think more brands should do that. However, unfortunately, I feel the fashion industry is really oversaturated with ideas. And so there's this crab mindset of, maybe not crab mindset. Crab mentality. Yeah. And also there's just an insatiable hunger for more. And it's never enough. After Fashion Week, we want more. After every award season, we want more. And the red carpet, like, celebrities are wearing amazing outfits, but the fashion world is almost not satisfied anymore. But at some point, it was more than enough. And so it's that oversaturation, overstimulated, overfed. And so it's literally just not satisfied anymore because the sensitivity to what was once beautiful has been taken away by, I guess, the overconsumption. That's just my perspective.
I mean, that's fair. Let's take it from a different angle and really dive deep a bit more about your journey. And I'm saying this because I feel like a lot of people are still kind of curious to know what that looks like. After your appearance at the show at Project Runway, you know for sure when you reached top 4, then you made your exit. What happened after that? Like, what did you end up doing in that point? Were you back on the drawing board? Did you take a break?
After Project Runway, maybe let me take it one step back to the night that I was actually eliminated. That week when we had that challenge, I knew I was up against 3 really strong designers. I knew it. And I sort of had this gut feeling that I'm the one who's going home. And I remember we were going back to our accommodation one of the nights, and Curtis could see it on my face. I'm not great at hiding my emotions, but I'm also not too quick to express my emotions. So Curtis noticed on my face that I was feeling the weight and the frustration of the competition. And it's like, don't doubt yourself and don't give up on yourself. And I just said to him, it feels inevitable. And it really did feel like it was a slow moving train. It was about to it was going to be a head-on collision. There's nothing I could do about it. And so when they eventually said, you're going home, I had already grieved my exit in the workroom because I was trying to sew and I'm shaking. And Aurora's coming in. It's like, Foster, you haven't done anything, because in my mind, I'm like, I'm going home.
You're already defeated.
Yeah. And so I was like, okay. And so I got to a certain point on one of the days. I said, okay, if I'm going to go home, I have to make sure it's going to be a good exit. At least I have to put up a fight, for lack of a better term. I'm going to put up a fight. And so when they said, okay, Foster, unfortunately, you're going home. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sad, But inside me, I knew I had to remind myself of who I was going into the competition. the decisions that I had made that led me up to that moment, up to that point in that moment. And that's where I had to pick up from. But what I didn't consider was what had happened to me in that period of filming. It felt like I hadn't been to a war. I've never been to a war. But I just felt, it felt like I'd been through something really hard to explain, something that I felt only those who'd been in the competition would understand.
Right.
It felt also like, it felt like a loss, but it felt I should be also grateful for the loss in some way. It felt like I was at the top, but then I felt also like I had nothing. So it was a very new emotion I had to experience, a very new side of my heart, my brain that I'd never explored. And I just found myself at certain points after the competition where I was just sad. I didn't want to design, not that I didn't know that I had to do something or prepare myself, but I just, the energy and the life had just gone. Like somebody came and blew on my candle and it was just that little piece of smoke that was just, you know. And so it was a hard thing. It's a hard thing to explain. And I'm sure you heard when we had the interview, I still don't have all the answers. And I don't want to lightly claim and say it was PTSD because I feel like it wasn't traumatic enough for me to claim it,
right?
You know, and I don't want to downplay people who actually really have PTSD, you know. So that was tough after the show. I leaned on the other contestants. I leaned on Rome, Delane, just talking to them and hearing how they're processing it. And funny enough, they also felt the same way. And then having to relive it when the show airs.
Right.
And now you're going through it with everybody. And now you're seeing what everybody said in your absence. Mm-hmm. The hardest one for me was the first episode when Jason Wu said, "There's no saving that dress." And the thing is, I love Jason Wu, and he's an incredible designer, and still is an incredible designer. But when I went on that runway to be, you know, for the judges to critique my look, I'd looked up to these people so much, and for them to now look at my designs and be like, "It's terrible," you know, you kind of feel defeated in a way. And it wasn't anything against him, but it was just, that's what he was there to do. That's his job, whether I liked what he said or not, but that was his role. I had my role. And so those kind of things, I think, really had an impact on me. And I didn't realize it in the moment. It's only after, when I was rewatching it, and I was about to go on social media and do like some really horrible reviews, like, how dare he say that? Doesn't he know we all start from somewhere? Like, and but my sister saw the post just when I posted it at night, and she's like, "Take it down. It's not necessary."
Your sister was your publicist.
Yes.
She's like, yeah, best practice. Just
she's like, "Take it down." I was like, "Okay," and I took it down, and then I had a moment to reflect, and honestly, he was just doing his job.
Yeah.
And yeah, okay, so there was no saving it, but I learned from it. I learned. It was an opinion and a perspective. And I was like, okay, that's an opinion, that's a perspective. Can I fix it? Can I fix it? Is there something I can do to do it better? And that's how we grow. And so I started rebuilding myself after the show. After I got over watching everything that had been said and done and everything, you know, the whole show has aired, I just started rebuilding my emotions, started rebuilding my hunger for what I had initially set out to do, my expedition in the fashion industry. And I sort of like shook the dust off and just went in and said, okay, I am in this position now. The fight is not over. So there's another chance for me to do something and, you know, find my people.
I'm sure there were so many lessons that you learned during the course of the competition. Is there something that you learned after the show that you can use as like a supportive mechanism to like kind of pull yourself out of a ditch? Because I feel like as a designer, as an artist, you will find yourself in a similar position time and time again. There's always a spotlight. The spotlight will always be taken away. So what's something that you can share that you've learned?
I feel that after the show, I didn't realize how many people actually watched the show and actually appreciated what I do. And so that feedback from real people in the real world who watched the show and they're like, I loved what you did. You know, that is encouraging because sometimes you are just in your own world, in your own room, designing, and it's only just like your mom and your closest friends telling you, oh my God, you're amazing. But when you see a person who you've never met and they connected with what you do, that is an indicator and an encouragement that there is something. So the feedback from people, the support really encouraged me. It really motivated me and inspired me a lot. And I think more than anything, that was the biggest thing.
So you've done a lot. You went to school in Fashion Institute of Technology in New York. You've done Project Runway. You're about to do Fashion Art Toronto again. What would you say is the biggest career milestone so far?
My biggest career milestone would be the Times 100 red carpet. I dressed a friend of mine called Cindy Zamora. She wore a custom dress. And that was the first time I had actually dressed someone for that kind of event. And I was like, it's Times 100, but this was in Rwanda. At Kigali. Where's Kigali? Is Kigali in Uganda or Rwanda? One of the two. But I know it was Kigali for sure. I should know my Africa by now. And she looked amazing. That is still, I think it's one of my best dresses. And she was at the event and there were other Zimbabwean celebrities there. I remember she sent me a video of her showing the dress to Danai. Danai is one of the warriors from Black Panther, the one with the bald head.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. She was there, and because she's Zimbabwean as well, so they were just talking about it, and it made me feel so proud because as much as I am in Canada and I'm part of Canada now, but where I come from, people to still recognize what I do and appreciate it means so much to me as well, you know. So that was one moment I will never forget. Of course, Project Runway is a big one. Would have been nice to win, but but I am proud of what I did on the show. I mean, making it to the top 4 was an achievement in my opinion, and standing next to those incredible designers was a milestone for sure. And meeting the incredible judges and the guest judges every week, that was amazing as well. And you don't get that opportunity to get professionals giving you feedback on your work all the time. So somebody saying, I think your design, I love this about your design. I think this could have been different. That's an asset. That's an asset. So you take that information and you go back to the drawing board and you adjust and you build.
So we've really covered a lot in this conversation. We're really seeing some momentum happening between your brand and what this collection is going to be. What is next for you? Let's just say that, you know, the runway is already finished and you're already building this collection. It's really getting presented into the public. What is the next step from there?
The next steps, I feel, are the same as any other designer, is to build and to announce the brand, publicize the brand. And so all the actions that I'm taking, I'm just following the blueprint that other designers have already followed before me. Because I do feel there's no need to reinvent the wheel all the time just because you want to make an impact. After a while, you are just following in the same cycle of the people you're saying you're not trying to follow. So following that blueprint. However, I feel that the fashion industry is in a revolutionary sort of phase, especially with technology. It's really influenced how we see fashion, how we relate with fashion a lot. And so I'm learning a lot about how I can integrate technology into the brand and make that something that would benefit my clients as well.
Right.
So definitely expanding the brand, announcing the brand, connecting to more clients, people to see it more on the red carpet and more events. So yeah.
Thank you for taking this time to chat with us. I think there's a lot to say about your journey and how you've turned this into an incredible feat. We can't wait for you guys to see this collection. I'm telling you, we haven't seen the entire thing yet, but what I can tell you is that you will be gagged. There's a lot to say about what's going to happen, and I can't wait for you guys to see it. For more info, where can we find you?
Of course. Well, if you need to find me, I'm on Instagram. You can just type in my brand name, SIYAWAREVA, SIYAWAREVA. Same website, SIYAWAREVA, www.siyawareva.com.
Perfect. So here we are. This is the end of our conversation with Foster. Again, my name is Simon.
I'm Amy Bricolage.
And thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned.